Yeah, gentleman right here.
If you shift the burden, the tax burden, back to the big corporations and the wealthy, what measures would you propose to prevent capital flight and to prevent businesses from moving out of our tax structure?
Sure, that's a very good question. The question is, if you ask the rich and the large corporations to start paying their fair share of taxes, won't they pick up and flee and go someplace else where they won't have to pay taxes? And that raises the question, and that's the problem that every mayor in America faces, every governor in America faced. And we had to deal with that when I was mayor of Burlington. What they do, these corporations do, and it's not only an international thing, it's a state by state. You want our company in your state, okay, how many years will you give us of tax-free existence? How will you subsidize the workforce in our factory? Well, New Hampshire is doing more. What do you have to say? And so forth. And they play off one state against a state and city against city. I think basically that takes us to the issue. It's a very important question, the issue of capital flight. And it takes us to some radical conclusions. And that is, it gets back to the question of American industrial policy, okay? And I don't have a magical answer here. I really don't. But clearly, if the issue is the General Electric says, as they have said, as they have done, look, we've been in your community for 30 or 40 years. You've kept us alive. Your workforce has sustained us. But we want to move now because we can get slave labor in Asia. We're picking up and going, and that's the end of the discussion. I think that the United States government has got to say, sorry, General Electric, that is not the end of the discussion. And then I think, and it's a difficult question, all right? I think what you're ultimately moving toward is partnerships, and it gets, then you talk about economic, democratic control of the economy. You're talking about a partnership between the private sector, the government, the unions, the working people. Now, one of the nice things that we know is that working people who have ownership in a plant, a shop, or a factory are not going to pick up and move to Mexico because this is their community. This is their life. And in Burlington, for example, on a small scale, I don't want to overdo it, we work very hard with locally owned businesses, with small businesses. We work with them because those were people who lived in our community, had pride in our community, and weren't going to pick up and go. But it is a very important issue. There's no question that the government is going to have to play an active role. The unions are going to have to play a role. And that raises other issues about reinvesting in America. It has to do with pension funds of unions and why we're not using that money to reinvest in America and so forth.